welcome back to another video. My name is Gillian Perkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. I like to think that I'm just OCD enough that it can actually be a good thing. And what I mean by that is that I compulsively obsess over some certain things that actually help me in my life. And one of those things that I kind of obsess over is my schedule. I like to be really productive, so I'm always trying to figure out ways that I can fit more into my schedule without feeling more busy. I want to be able to get more done while still staying relaxed and happy. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you exactly what calendar blocking is, or time blocking, whatever you want to choose to call it. I like to call it time blocking because I'm taking my time and I'm chunking it out into blocks of time where I focus on specific activities. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly what that is, how it works, and how you can get started with it yourself. Specifically, first I'm going to be showing you exactly what it is, then I'm going to explain how it can help you be more productive and truly double your daily productivity. Then I'm going to give you a step-by-step kind of tutorial about how I do it myself. And then finally, I'm going to be sharing with you some pro tips to help you get the most out of this productivity strategy. All right, so first of all, what is time blocking? Well, if you haven't heard of this before, let me just explain. And if you have, you might want to jump ahead about a minute or so in the video. But basically, time blocking is where you take a look at your calendar. This can be a digital calendar or a paper calendar, but basically you're looking at all of the time that you have available to do things, whether that's work or play, whether it's relaxing or being super productive. You take a look at all of that time and you specifically assign that time to different activities. So you're taking blocks of time and you're saying, during this block of time, I'm going to do this activity. During this block of time, I will have lunch, and you're just scheduling out every single thing that you're going to do. Now, this might mean that you're just scheduling out what you are planning to do anyway, or it might be that you are working to figure out how you can fit more into your day. I'd recommend that when you first get started with time blocking, you just try to make it as realistic as possible and make it reflect your regular life routine, and that way you can get in the habit of it, and then as you get better and better with it and more in that habit, then you can start to use it to actually make changes to your schedule and to your daily life. Now, my preferred tool for calendar blocking is Google Calendar, and I've been using Google Calendar for years and years. I probably started using it about 6 or 10 years ago, way before I even started my business or anything. I've just always been a little bit obsessive about scheduling things out, making things fit together. I used to, before I ran this business, I used to be a piano teacher, and so those appointments obviously had to be at certain times every single week, and I think that was when I first got into this habit of blocking out my calendar, because I had to have those certain blocks on my calendar anyway, and so I started just blocking in other things like time when I had to go to a class or time when I had to do my homework, and of course all sorts of other appointments when I had to be different places. The reason that I like to use Google Calendar for my time blocking is because it integrates with so many other things in my life. I can obviously have it both on my computer and on my phone, so I have it with me at all times. There's even like widgets that you can put on your phone so that it will be front and center whenever you turn on your phone, so that you can't really ignore it. But it also syncs with so many other tools that I use in my life. It syncs with my Gmail, and then it syncs with all sorts of different apps that you might be using for other sorts of scheduling things or other sorts of planning in your life. A lot of the times those apps actually sync with Google Calendar automatically so that they can add whatever else you're doing onto your calendar. These days, Google Calendar is so advanced that if you get an email with your itinerary for a flight or something like that, you can just click a button and it will automatically get added to your Google Calendar. Okay, so real quick, let's talk about why time blocking is so powerful and how it can help you double your productivity. Well, first of all, we all know that what is much more important than just doing lots of things is actually doing the right things, right? So what I mean by that is you have certain priorities or goals in your life, certain things that are important to you, and it's more important that you spend your time effectively on those things than it is that you're just doing busy work and like getting lots of stuff done that isn't important stuff. So in order to be able to focus on what's important, of course, first of all, you have to get clear on what your priorities actually are, what you want to be spending your time on. But then if you aren't actually scheduling out time to focus on those things and blocking out chunks of time when you're going to work on them, then you might find that even though you know those things are important and you really feel like is where you want to be spending your time, you never have time to actually do them. Like maybe something that's really important to you is to be healthy and to be fit, and you think like, okay, this is a priority for for me. But for some reason, you never get around to actually working out or to actually cooking a healthy meal. And that might be just because you're not doing a very good job of scheduling right now. But calendar blocking can help you to be more objective about this and to actually, schedule that on your calendar, and then you can prioritize it just like you would prioritize an appointment that you made with someone else. You're basically making a commitment to yourself and you're writing down exactly when you're going to do it. Another reason that calendar blocking can help you become much more productive is because it actually shows you where you're spending your time. So because you'll have this record of where you're spending your time, you can actually look back on the past weeks or even the past months, and then you can assess, are you spending your time in the most effective ways? A lot of people recommend that at the end of the week, you do a weekly review, or at the end of the month, do a weekly review and ask yourself, what went right, what went wrong, what could we do better? But a lot of the time you get to that point where you're supposed to do some sort of review and you just think what did I even spend my time on? And you have no idea what you spent your time on, even though you felt like you were super busy all week. And so then you just end up feeling like you're spinning your wheels, you're not getting anything done, you're not moving closer to your goals, but all of your time is getting eaten up doing something, but you're not sure what. So when you do calendar blocking, you're gonna create for yourself a record of how you spent your time, and that means you'll actually be able to look back on the previous week, the previous month, see how you're spending your time, see whether or not you're doing the things that are moving you closer and closer to your goals, or if you're wasting your time on stuff that isn't really important. Another awesome benefit of calendar blocking is that it helps you stay focused. So not only are we preemptively deciding to work on those important things, but whatever we're trying to work on, we are able to stay focused on it because we've already written down, we are going to focus on this, we're going to work on this, and we know that we have a certain amount of time, say 1 hour, when we're really just going to go hard on that one task, and then we have something else coming right after it. And I think that you've probably heard of this law before. I believe it's called Perkins's law, which states that things expand to fill up however much space or time there is available for them to fill up. So for example, if you just have one thing you need to do today, let's say you just have some chores around the house, it can take you all day to get those chores done. On the other hand, if you've got 10 different tasks lined up and they're gonna, pack out your day, then you'll somehow manage to get them done and you'll be so much more efficient with each of those tasks. So when you tell yourself, okay, I need to work on this now, whether it's an important thing or not, it can wind up taking up an enormous amount of time if you don't give yourself a deadline. But when we're doing calendar blocking and we're saying, okay, from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'm going to write that blog post, or from 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock, I'm gonna, do a chore, I'm gonna get my laundry done, or something like that, then suddenly you have given yourself a deadline and your mind knows that you only have a certain amount of time to get that task done, especially because there's something coming up right after that you're gonna have to do next. And then finally, one of the most obvious benefits of calendar blocking is that it prevents you from idly wasting time. Now, of course, that's not to say that you can't indulge some and put fun things on your calendar, relaxing things on your calendar. I really recommend that you do that, but you're not gonna be just idly wasting time. You're not gonna be looking at your to-do list and thinking, wow, I really should do all those things, but I don't feel like it, so I guess I'll just sit here and watch Netflix, or I guess I'll go have another snack. But instead, you're gonna be able to decide how you're gonna spend your time, you're gonna fill up your whole calendar and decide when you're going to be doing productive work and when you're going to be doing fun things or just recuperating or relaxing. Whatever you wanna do with your time, you'll be actually intentionally deciding that and then doing that. Okay, so those are a few of the reasons why calendar blocking is such a powerful strategy and why I personally practice it very consistently. Now though, I want to hop onto my computer and show you actually how I do this in my own life. I'm gonna block out a whole calendar for you and show you some tips and tricks on how you can get this done for yourself. Okay, so here we are inside Google Calendar, and I pretty much live inside this tool. And as you can see right now, I have all of my calendars toggled off because I want to kind of start from scratch and show you guys how I would build one of these zeroed out calendars if I was just starting with a blank slate. So first of all, what you want to do is click this little plus button to create new calendars for yourself. So you're just going to click on New Calendar, and then you can name your calendar, give it a description if you want, set your time zone. So let's say that this is your work calendar, okay? And I'd really recommend that you create several calendars for different parts of your life. So you might also have one that's called daily routines. If you have a bunch of personal projects, you might create a separate calendar for that. But I at least want one for my work, for my daily routines, for my appointments, and also perhaps one for deadlines, perhaps one for travel plans. But right now, I think that we will probably be able to get by just with these three. Maybe we'll come back here in a minute and add more, but we'll start with these. So these three that I just created are already toggled on, and I see that we've got this one, work, automatically assigned to be green, daily routines was chosen to be blue, and appointments was also blue, so I definitely want to change the color of one of those. Let's make work a different color. Let's make it something like orange, and then let's make the daily routines be green, and then let's keep those appointments as blue. Okay, so first of all, let's start with daily routines, because that is probably going to be kind of the foundation for your whole routine. So you first need to decide what time you want to wake up at, and of course that means you'll also be deciding what time you're going to go to bed at, because you definitely want to get in at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Obviously some people need more and some people need less, but let's start with deciding the time you want to wake up at. Now, if you want to maximize your productivity, I'd probably recommend that you wake up by about 6 o'clock. So let's just put an appointment in here that says you're going to wake up between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, or we could even just make it say 6 o'clock right there. And we're going to color this to fit into your daily routines calendar. Okay, so there you have it, waking up at 6 o'clock. And now let's do a little bit of math and figure out if we're going to wake up at 6 o'clock, what time do we need to go to bed? Well, we probably need to have the lights out by 10 o'clock. So let's add another appointment right here, and let's say go to bed. Okay, and this one I will also add to the daily routines. Okay, so far we don't have much in terms of blocks. These are more just like little deadlines that we're setting for ourselves. But what we want to do now is click on each of these and actually make them recur. So right here where it says does not repeat, we're just going to click on that and change it to be every single day. So daily. Okay, and then we'll just save that, and you'll see that it will show up now on every single day from here on out. And then we'll change this to also recur. And this you might choose to be every single day, or you might just want it to happen on weekdays. Let's say that we only want it to happen weekdays, because I know a lot of people probably want to sleep in on the weekends. Personally, I kind of like waking up at the same time even on the weekends and doing something fun instead of working, but that's obviously totally up to you. Okay, let's start adding some real blocks in now. So in my morning, what do I like to do? Well, personally, I like to keep my morning routine pretty simple. I like to take about an hour for my morning routine, and that includes getting ready. So I'm going to add a new appointment in here, and this one is going to go from the time I wake up, 6 o'clock, up until 7 o'clock. And this one is going to say morning routine. And then I'm going to add it to my daily routine schedule, and I'm going to click this more options button so that I can kind of list here exactly what my morning routine is going to consist of. So first of all, I want to get up, and I'm going to get dressed and do my makeup. And because I like to do those things first so that I really feel fully prepared for the day. And then lately, this routine that I've been loving has just been to make myself a cup of tea or coffee. Most mornings lately, it's been coffee. And then I sit down with my coffee, and first I journal. And I know that this is maybe starting to sound like a lot, but I only write in my journal for a few minutes while I'm drinking my coffee, and then I take a look at my schedule for the day. So then I kind of like review daily plan. Okay, and that's it for my morning routine. And yes, I am putting in a whole hour for these things because I'll admit I'm a little bit of a slowpoke in the morning. I like to take my time. I don't want to feel rushed, but I also want to get started working pretty early. Okay, so I'm not gonna smash in a whole bunch of stuff here, just a few things. Okay, so now I have this block here for my morning routine, and I should also make that one recur. So we're gonna repeat that every single weekday at least, or perhaps every single day if you would want to do that on the weekends also. Okay, so now we've got that on every single weekday, and now let's say that we're going to work from 7 a.m. until about 4 p.m. Now, of course, if you're working a 9 to 5 job, then your hours might be set for you, and they might be literally from 9 to 5 or from 8 to 5 or something like that. But personally, I set my own hours. So I like to get my work done a little bit earlier in the day. So I'm just gonna say work here, and then of course I'm going to actually add this one to my daily routine. And you might think I would want to add it to my work routine, but I'm actually going to use the work routine to add specific tasks that I need to work on. So for my daily routine, I'm just putting work as one solid big block. Okay, so now we're going to save that, and then again we need to make this recur. Now this one of course is going to only happen every weekday. Okay, there we go. So now we have work every day from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then after work, what do we want to do? Well, let's think about things that we know when we want to do them. Let's say that we know we want to eat dinner at 6:30, for example. So I'm just going to change this time to be 6:30. We'll probably eat until about 7:30. Let's add this to the daily routines calendar, and we'll click the more options button and actually name it dinner, right? And then we're going to make it repeat every single day. Now, of course, on the weekends, other things might come up. We might decide to eat dinner at a slightly different time, and we can always adjust this going forward. I really would recommend that you do stick to what's on your calendar, but that doesn't mean you can't adjust your calendar. It just means that when you adjust your calendar, you then stick to whatever you have adjusted it to. Okay, and then similarly, we could also add in some time here in the middle of the day for lunch. So let's say that we want to eat at about 12:30. So 12:30 to 1. Now, of course, if you're making yourself lunch, you might need a whole hour. If you've made something in advance or you're eating leftovers or something packaged, then you probably only need half an hour. I'm going to leave half an hour here because I am normally eating leftovers or else something really easy for lunch. This one is also getting added to the daily routines calendar. And then in here, I'm going to change this to be daily because I eat lunch every day. Although when I get to the weekend or if I have plans during the weekend, I might decide to perhaps extend this a little bit and say I'm going to take a whole hour to eat lunch on Saturdays. And this one, I'm going to say only this event that I'm changing because I want it to stay the same during the weekdays. So now at this point, we could decide if we're going to add in anything else. You'll notice that right now I haven't added in breakfast. I do normally eat breakfast, although I normally either eat something while I'm having my coffee during the morning, if I'm feeling hungry then, or else I take a little break maybe around 10 o'clock or so, 9:30 or 10, let's say from 9:30 to 10, and I have a snack. And it's like normally a pretty substantial snack, but it's not really exactly breakfast, and I'm not normally sitting down with the family for that one. So I'm just going to make sure that this repeats every weekday, let's say, because on the weekends, I do normally actually eat breakfast. Okay, so right now I do have all of these events for the daily routines green, but you certainly can go in and actually change the colors just for certain types of events. So for example, maybe I want all my meals to be yellow. And then I'd say that I want to change this for all events in this particular series. And now all my snacks will turn yellow. They're still green right at the very beginning to indicate that they're on the daily routine schedule, but that way they stand out to me as something different. So I could do that for each of the meals if I wanted to. And I see Google has added a little picture here. That's kind of fun. Sometimes they do that if you add a birthday or lunch or something like that, that Google knows what it is, then they actually add that picture. Okay, and I'm going to do that for dinner also. Okay, so now I have a little bit of a structure to my day. Now, I haven't filled in all of the individual tasks, obviously, but I've built a framework that I'm going to fit the individual tasks into. Okay, so at this point, I have two options for kind of two different things I could work on. I could either work on adding tasks into the work calendar, or I could add tasks into this time that I have left over in the evening. Now, of course, if you're starting work later, which many people choose to do, or you might be forced to by your 9 to 5, then you might have some time left over in the morning that you want to add other tasks to also. Like maybe you want to read a book or take your dog for a walk or work on an online course or any sort of thing like that. Maybe you want to go to the gym. In my case, I am starting work at 7 a.m. every day. However, I do on some days want to wake up earlier so that I can actually go to the gym first. Now, lately, my gym routine has been to go on Saturday mornings bright and early at about 7:15. I know that's not crazy early, but that is the earliest class for the Orange Theory class that I've been going to. So I'm going to add this in from... well, let's say from 6:45 actually, because that's when I have to leave to get to the gym on time. And then I'm going to make it go until, let's see, the class is over at 8:15, but then I don't get home until 8:45 because I live about half an hour away from the gym that I like to go to. So I would just name this Orange Theory because that's the class I'm going to. And then I would add that. I could either add it to my daily routines calendar or I could add it to my appointments calendar, which is what I'm going to do because it is an out of the house appointment that I'm going to have to get ready for and actually get in my car and go somewhere. So then I'm going to make this repeat every Saturday. Okay, so now I've got my Saturday workout in there, and I also have been going to Orange Theory normally on Tuesday morning. So this class, I believe, is at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to say that on Tuesday, I need to wake up a bit earlier because I need to leave my house by 5:30, which means that I need to wake up at 5. And then instead of doing my normal morning routine, I'm going to delete that, just that one event, and I'm going to add in Orange Theory here. The class will go from 6 until 7, so I'll be home at 7:30, and this again is Orange Theory. Okay, and then this one will also get added to my appointments calendar, and I need to make it repeat every Tuesday morning. Okay, so now I've got both of my workouts in there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to adjust my work on Tuesday, but because I want this to work every single week of the calendar, so like when I click onto the next week, I want it to work for that one also. What I need to do is actually click on the work on a different day and change that to custom so that I can make it happen on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but not on Tuesday. So I'm going to uncheck Tuesday and I'm going to say done and save that. And now we're going to make that happen for all events. You're going to see that there's no work on Tuesday. We need to add in some work on Tuesday from 7:30, nope, not 7:30, from 8 until 4 p.m. And then we're also just going to name this one work. Okay, and we're adding this one, of course, to the daily routines. Save. Okay, and then we're going to add right in here half an hour for breakfast because, yes, I know I'm going to be starving. So 7:30 to 8, obviously we're eating something quick here. This isn't going to be a long, drawn-out breakfast with the fam, but it will get some food in my face before I start working. Okay. So now we've got those workouts. Now another thing that I have in my schedule that is another kind of priority of mine along with the Orange Theory is to learn a new skill and get some exercise at the same time. So on Wednesday evenings, I go to tennis class. Now tennis class starts at 7 o'clock and it goes till 8 o'clock, but I have to leave my house at 6:30. So basically I need to get rid of dinner here on Wednesday. So I'm going to click on dinner and I could either change all these other dinners or I could just drag dinner to a different time. Now normally I actually eat dinner when I get back. I get back at 8:30, so I'm gonna just pull this one down to 8:30. My husband normally makes me dinner when I go to tennis, so I don't have to make dinner. It's very nice of him. I'm gonna add in tennis here, so 6:30 until 8:30 right there, and this will be tennis. And this one is also going to be on my appointments because I have to leave the house for it. And then let's just click on more options and change it to weekly on Wednesdays because tennis happens pretty much every week. On the rare occasion that there isn't tennis, I would of course just click on this and click the delete button right here and then choose to delete only this event so that I keep the recurring event on all the other days, but I get rid of that one time when it's not happening. Okay. So what else do we want to add in here? Now, chances are if you're watching my channel, you are kind of into personal development and working on yourself, so something that you probably want to do is some reading. But we all know that it can be tough to find the time to read, and a big reason for that is because it's not scheduled. So we fill up our time with other things that seem more important, or we even just waste the time. But if we actually put it on our calendar as an important appointment, then it will get done. Now, if you don't think reading is important, then don't put it on your calendar, of course. But if you think it's important, then it's worth scheduling. So let's say that we want to find time on at least 3 days out of the week to read. So let's say that before dinner for an hour on Tuesday and Thursday, we are going to read. And then we also might want to add in some time on Saturday to read. So in this case, I'm going to add it to my daily routines, although you certainly could make another calendar that is for your personal development or for your you time or your self-care or something like that. In this case, I'm just going to add it to the daily routines, and then I'm going to choose the custom option and make it show up on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. All right, so now we'll click save, and we should have reading show up here. And Thursdays? Yes, please? No? Let's try again. Let's see what the matter is. So let's edit this, and it says somehow we ended up with no Thursday. Thursday, done. Okay, so we want to select the custom option for this one. So we're clicking custom, we are choosing Thursday, and then we need to click done, and then we're going to save and choose all events. Okay. And now it will be on Tuesday and also on Thursday. And if I wanted to read at the same time on Saturday, I could have added it into Saturday also. And now that I'm thinking about it more, I think I will actually do that. So we're just going to come back in here, choose custom, choose Saturday also, because I think I'm going to fill in the earlier part of my day with some other activities. So Saturday we're reading also, save, all events, okay. So now we're reading also on Saturday, and probably on Saturday we're going to have dinner with some friends and do some more fun things. So I think I will extend dinner on Saturday to take up a few hours, maybe from 6:30 to 9:30, for example. Okay, and then what else would we like to add in here? Now, I've already added in my exercise, I've added in reading, I obviously have plenty of time for work, meals. So as you can see, when you do calendar blocking, you'll actually discover that you have a lot of time available for you to plug in whatever activities you actually want to do. Now, one thing that I noticed we don't have in here yet is any chores. Now, different people like to do their chores on a different schedule. Some people like to do some chores every day. Some people like to do them all on Saturday. In this case, let's, for example, say that we're going to do some chores on Saturday morning and then just a little bit of chores throughout the rest of the week. However, I noticed that I did not put any meal here in after Orange Theory, so I definitely want to add in some time for that. Now, because this is Saturday, I'll probably cook something for my whole family and we'll take more time to do it. So let's give an hour and a half for a family breakfast. I'm going to add this one to my daily routine schedule, and then I'm going to make that happen every single Saturday. Okay, and it looks like I made this start a little bit too soon, so I'm just going to click on it and edit it to start at actually 8:45. And then I'll click save, and I will apply it to all events. That will be all Saturdays. Okay, and then after the family breakfast, let's spend a couple hours, not too much time, but maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours cleaning, because this has to get done sometime, right? So we might as well get it done in just one solid block right there. This one will get added to my daily routines schedule, and I will make this happen every single Saturday. Now, because this isn't one of the regular routines that's like work or breakfast or something like that, I would probably choose to change the color of this event to something else so that I remember something out of the ordinary that I need to do. I think I'll make it just this gray color because I don't really want it to be super prominent on my calendar, but I do want to notice that it is there. Okay, so now let's see what else. Let's add in some time on a few of these days to get some other things done. So I like to spend a fair amount of time with my kids, just doing family time several times throughout the week, and then I also need to get these chores done. I also like to do the chores with the kids. So let's say that on Monday and Wednesday and Friday, I'm going to be spending some quality time with my kids, and then I'll also spend some quality time with them on Saturday. Let's say that this time is starting right when I'm done with work work at 4 o'clock and that I spend 2 hours doing some activities with them. So let's say spend time with kids. And this I'm going to add to my daily routines and more options so that I can make this repeat custom on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Done, save, and we definitely want to, okay, there it goes. So now we have some time with the kids, and I'm going to change the color on that to something that makes me feel fun. So how about purple? And we're going to apply this to all events. Okay, so now we have some purple time with the kids, and let's see what else. We wanted to add in the chores, so let's add the chores in before the reading time. Let's just say about an hour for chores on Tuesday and Thursday, and this is probably time when I would more do tidying, not so much cleaning. So let's add this in to that daily routine schedule. Let's make it repeat weekly on Tuesday and Thursday, and then I'm going to change the color here to be gray to match the other chores. Okay, so now we've got some chores on our calendar. We still have plenty of extra time here. Maybe we want to have a weekly Friday movie night. You could of course do that any night, but we often have company over on Friday evenings, so I'll put the weekly family movie night on Thursday evenings. So let's just say movie night, and this one is going from 7:30 until, we're going to say 9:30, because then the kids need to get ready for bed, and this will add to the daily routines. But let's make this repeat weekly on Thursday, and also change the color to purple to match that other time we're spending with kids. Okay, I also wanted to add in some time on Saturday afternoon. I normally spend pretty much all Saturday afternoon doing stuff with the kids, so we'll just add that in here. And of course, I'll add that to the daily routine schedule, and I'll click this so that I can change the color to purple. And also, I want to repeat this weekly on Saturday. Okay, so now I've got time with the kids there on Saturday, and now in the evenings, I'll just give you a pro tip here. Don't forget to add showering into your schedule. For some reason, I always forget to add showering into my schedule, and then 3 days later, I realize, wait, when am I supposed to do that? Now, maybe you're someone who likes to shower every single morning. I totally support that because I love being clean. So I know that I will definitely want to shower on Wednesday evening after going to tennis. So I'll probably just add in my shower right here because I like to shower before I go to bed. So I'm really clean when I go to bed. I love the feeling of clean sheets and having just freshly showered. So let's add that to the daily routine schedule, and we're just going to make that repeat every Wednesday. And I will admit that even though I schedule this in, I don't always 100% stick to my scheduled showers because, if you do it every other day, then you get to the end of the week and you've gone like Wednesday and then Friday, and then maybe your next day is Monday, but then you'll have 2 days in between, and sometimes I just want to take a shower sooner than that, so then I have to readjust my next week's schedule. Anyway, in this case, let's say that we're showering on Wednesday evening. Let's say that we're showering here on Friday evening before we have company over. So again, shower, and this one will be on the daily routines. Let's make this repeat every Friday and save that. Okay, so we've got a shower in there, and then I'll also add a shower on Sunday. Actually, I haven't added anything to Sunday. I'd like to leave some time in my schedule where I just don't have to think about what am I supposed to do when, so I often don't schedule much of anything on Sunday. We do go to church every Sunday morning, and that is from, we leave at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we get back at about 12:30. And that is church, but I don't fill up Sunday. Now, you certainly could. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not something that I normally do. So I'm going to make that repeat every single Sunday. Okay, so on Sunday, if I want to take a shower first thing in the morning, personally, I still wake up at 6 a.m., so I would be taking my shower by 6:30 at the latest. It's normally sooner than that, honestly. It's normally 6:15 when I get in the shower on Sunday morning. And then after that, I like to take some time to read and just do some relaxing things because my kids definitely are not up yet. They don't wake up until about 8 in the morning most mornings. So there we go. And then we have that shower in there, although I realized that I did not make it repeat. So I do want it to repeat on Sundays. Okay, so now I've got my showers in there on Wednesday and Friday and Sunday. And as I mentioned, this sometimes gets bumped around a little bit because then I don't shower on Monday and Tuesday. And on Tuesday, I might feel like I really want to take a shower, especially maybe after Orange Theory. I might squeeze a shower in there after breakfast before work or something like that. Okay, so as you can see, we are doing a whole lot. We're spending lots of time with the kids. We're getting a ton of work done. We've got snacks and lunch. We are going to church. We're finding time to read, and we still have lots of time left over. So in this video, I'm not going to take the time to fill in every single little minute of my day. I do normally like to fill in most of the time, but still leave a little bit of wiggle room. So I'd probably leave these little half-hour gaps just so that I don't feel too crunched, but I would fill in something in these evenings where I have nothing scheduled right now. Okay, now let's talk about two other things real quick. First of all, let's talk about the fact that we can toggle off any of these calendars. So let's toggle them all off for a minute, and then let's just look at, for example, our appointments calendar. You can see when we need to be certain places, or we can just look at our daily routines, or we could just look at work, except there's nothing on work right now. So that's what we're going to fix right now. We're going to add something into this time from 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Tuesday there. And I'm not going to go into all the detail because I know everybody has different work and this video is already getting super long, but I just want to give you some examples. So in my case, for example, on Monday, my main tasks are filming videos. See, it's Monday right now and I'm filming a video. And I also like to upload the videos for Tuesday and Thursday that are going to come out on those days. And I need to send footage to my editor, also answer emails. So let's just say that I want to film my videos first thing. I normally spend about an hour and a half filming my videos. So I'm just going to mark in here, film YouTube videos. Now it actually takes me a little longer than an hour and a half total because I do have to get ready, do my makeup, do my hair, but I've worked that into my morning routine. So that's why I can put actually just an hour and a half right here. And I'm adding this one to my work calendar, so it's going to be orange. Then more options, I'll make that repeat every Monday, save. Okay, so now that's on my work calendar, and if I was to toggle off the daily routines, you would see just that one thing there. Okay, now after filming the YouTube videos, the next thing is to actually send them to the video editor. So send footage to editor. Okay, and this takes me about 45 minutes. I'm adding it to the work calendar and I'm going to make that repeat every single Monday. Okay, save. So now we have sending the footage to the editor. Now that doesn't leave very much time right here before I'm gonna have a snack. So let's just pop in here though, Instagram. I do schedule when I'm going to publish on Instagram. So we'll put this on the work calendar. This is only going to take 15 minutes. Because I normally take my pictures ahead of time in batches, I only have to allow the time to actually write the caption and post it on Instagram. Okay, so then I'm going to stop, I'm going to have a snack, a little break, and then after that, let's come back, let's put in an hour of scheduling the videos for the week. So schedule videos. And this is when I actually upload them to YouTube and post them for the correct days. And it actually normally takes me a little bit longer than that. So I'll say that it will take me until 11:30 because I am going to be creating the thumbnails also. And I definitely want to allow enough time for these things so that I'm not feeling rushed and I don't get behind, because once you get behind, then it's really hard to catch up and it kind of makes all of this get thrown out the window. Okay, now I have another hour left before lunch, so let's get in some email. Email is something that people often like to throw into that basket of busy work that you shouldn't even have on your schedule. But I mean, the reality is that in order to get anything done, we do have to communicate with other people. And so I've found that email is actually a super important thing that we just need to make sure it doesn't take over our life. We need to schedule it in so that we're not checking our email a gazillion times every single day and wasting a lot of time switching activities, but we still need to communicate with people. Okay, so at this point, honestly, this is most of the work that I would do on Monday. Now, if there's anything else that I want to get done on Monday, then I could certainly schedule it into my afternoon work time. So maybe I might choose to have a meeting with someone, maybe I might choose to work on one of my projects or do something more with the videos. I mean, there's all sorts of things that I could do, but also sometimes I just decide, on this particular Monday, I don't need to do more work, so I will just take work, I will make work work shorter so that I'm going to stop here right before lunch. Okay, I'm only going to change this one event because on other Mondays I might want to work that long. And now I have more time open in the afternoon. So I might decide that I want to start playing with the kids a little bit sooner. So maybe I'm going to play with them for a total of 4 hours instead of just those original 2 hours that I had planned. And I'll move this up here so that it starts right after lunch. And now I have some extra me time right here. Okay, so normally most days I work a little bit longer than just from 7 a.m. until 12:30, but I certainly like to have plenty of half days because while work is super important to me and I have lots of career goals or other sorts of goals related to work, I also really prioritize time with my kids, time with my family, doing fun, adventurous things, and having fun in life. And so I like to keep this as flexible as possible. I also try to stick to it as closely as possible and really honor these commitments to myself, but I want it to be flexible and I want it to be like real life and not have it be this strict schedule that I'm imposing on myself and making myself miserable with it. Okay, so now that we are done with the tutorial on how to do the calendar blocking, I want to share with you a few pro tips before you go so that you can do this as effectively as possible. Now, the first one is that if you haven't already, make sure you are creating multiple calendars inside of Google Calendar because this will help you to stay much more organized so that you won't just be overwhelmed by all the things that you're putting on your calendar. You can have one calendar for chores, you can have one calendar for work, you can have one calendar for appointments, you could have one calendar for travel plans, okay? Whatever these kind of big main sections of your life are, make separate calendars for them and add the tasks to the appropriate calendar, and then you'll be able to actually toggle on or off the different calendars, and you can look just at your travel plans, or you could look just at your chores, so that you're not constantly looking at all these things and feeling overwhelmed. My second pro tip is probably pretty obvious, but it really helps if you color code different types of events, because if your whole calendar is just the same color, then it will just look like this giant block and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it also can be a little bit numbing. But when we break it up and we organize it by color, so we say, okay, I'm gonna make all my routine things blue, or I'm gonna make all of my personal development things green, or I'm gonna make all of my out of the house appointments bright yellow so I don't forget that I have to actually get ready and leave. By color coding the different events, you'll be able to visually see what's going on much more easily. My next pro tip is leave room to breathe. Even though I'm talking about filling up your whole schedule with everything that you're doing, make sure that you are leaving little bits of wiggle room all throughout it so that you don't get behind one day and then feel behind for days after that, okay? We want to leave little gaps so that you have time to catch up if you're running a little behind, or so you have time to just sit and relax for at least a few minutes several times throughout the day. My next tip for you is that as you get started practicing calendar blocking yourself, especially if this is your first time, don't think that there's like a one size fits all. Different people do better with different paces of calendar blocking, so you need to find the pace that will suit your life the best. And here's what I mean by that. For some people, it's much better to have big blocks of time where you're gonna maybe be doing multiple things within that block of time. So maybe you put on your calendar like work on your blog or do housework, okay? And you're planning to do multiple things in that time, but it helps it feel a little bit slower paced because you're putting these larger blocks of time and it's not back-to-back appointments constantly all day. On the other hand, some people do really well breaking things down into 1 hour increments. From 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I'll eat breakfast. From 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'll work on my blog. From 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I'll work on my YouTube channel. From 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I'll answer email. From 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I'll eat lunch. Okay, so some people do really well with that really steady routine all throughout the day. It just makes a really steady pace and it helps it feel really well organized. And then finally, some people do good with almost exactly the opposite of that. They like to have big blocks of time for part of the day and then mix it up with some like quick little tasks. So that might look like, okay, let's work on housework for 2 hours. Okay, now let's answer email for 15 minutes, have a snack for 15 minutes, take the dog for a walk for 15 minutes. Okay, so you can kind of see, I think, what I mean by different paces suit different people. Some people like that slow, steady. Some people like to keep it really mixed up and have a lot of variety. Some people like it to go slow. Some people like it to go fast. And you just have to play around with it and find the right pace for you. My next pro tip goes right along with that, and that is to not create too many tiny little blocks, okay? Even though I'm talking about scheduling individual activities into your calendar to make sure they happen, I don't want you to get carried away and break everything down into tiny little steps for your entire week, every single week, because that will end up feeling overwhelming and you'll probably end up just feeling exhausted. So we want to make sure that we have at least some longer blocks that are at least an hour or so that you don't constantly feel like you're having to play catch up all the time. And then my final tip for you is to make sure that you are really considering these blocks that you're putting on your calendar to be important appointments. Now, if they're not important appointments, then maybe they should get off your calendar. Maybe you should figure out a different way to get that done, or a way that doesn't have to get done at all, so that you can focus your time on the things that are actually the most important to you, that are actually moving you towards your goals. But everything that does actually make its way onto your calendar, I just encourage you to consider it an important appointment. Just like if you had agreed with someone else that you would meet them at a certain time, be that for a meeting or for coffee or whatever it is that you were going to do with them. Okay, when you're putting this activity on your calendar, you're scheduling down this task, you're making a commitment to yourself. And your appointments with yourself, your commitments to yourself, really should be at the top of your priority list, okay? Because if you're not being accountable to yourself, if you're not keeping your commitments to yourself, how are you going to be able to consistently achieve your goals? You really aren't going to be able to unless you practice self-accountability, okay? And you practice showing up for yourself. Alright, well that is everything for this video. I hope that you found it interesting and helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever heard of calendar blocking before, if you've tried it, if you practice it regularly, if it sounds like something that could be helpful to you, or if it just sounds totally too OCD. Just let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Also, I wanted to let you know, if you're not already following me on Instagram, I would love to have you there also. On my Instagram, I share a little bit more of the behind the scenes of my life, running my business, family life, stuff like that. So if you want to see kind of a continual daily vlog, then check out my Instagram stories. And then beyond that, I also wanted to let you know I've got a free download that you can check out. There's a link to it down below, and it is my priority planning pack. Basically, it walks you through the process of figuring out what your priorities in life are, and then organizing your schedule around those priorities. So this is kind of something you could do before you get started calendar blocking, to actually figure out what you even want to be spending your time on, and then you can take those priorities and you can make sure that you actually have tasks on your calendar that correlate with those priorities. So you're actually getting the important things done. Okay, well that's everything for today. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that, because I make 2 videos every single week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all about entrepreneurship, success, and personal development, and I would love to have you join me for the next one. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.